Cool. So I hold a study group call every Thursday. It's basically normally where we just come on, I open up the charts, and I basically just answer any questions. And if there aren't many questions, then we kind of then say, cool, nobody really needs any help this week. We're good to go, and we just carry on with the week. Or if people do have questions, then we can go over the charts. I can show you certain things. If you're stuck, if you are not figuring out a strategy, if you're not consistent, if you don't understand something, that's where you can ask. So technically you can do that this evening, but this call more so is going to be based on me and how I just analyze the chart ready for the week ahead. And I'm going to make it so that you can either ask a question in the chat or you can unmute yourself. Let me do this. Yes, you are able to unmute yourself, but do bear with me because I am on my iPad, so some people can randomly unmute and it can cause a bit of noise in the background. So I'm very cautious of that. Let me just get this and we're good. There we go. Guest, co-host. Perfect. All right, cool. So first and foremost, does anybody have any questions at the moment? If you want to put it in the chat, I'm going to go through the chart. I'm going to go through, yes, no problem, cool. May I ask what type of analysis you're using for trading? Do you use smart money concepts? I have no idea what smart. Somebody said to me the other day, are you a scalper? And I was like, well, can you define what you think scalping is? Because then I can answer whether this yes or no. And then smart money concepts, I actually don't know. If somebody said to me, can you explain or define what smart money concepts is, I honestly cannot explain what it is. So if you just want to elaborate a little bit more on that, then I'll do my best to try and answer that question for you, but I don't want to give you the wrong answer, okay? So my plan today, and put your questions in, I'll keep an eye on the chat. My plan today is to go over the chart, show you what I'm looking for and where I would potentially put my buy and sell areas and also how I use my buy and sell areas. Before I go into that, I just want to touch a little bit on mindset. And I think this is key in terms of everybody on this call, because a lot of people are joining groups that are giving signals. And one of my biggest pet hates is not the fact that the signal providers aren't good. They are. My biggest pet hate is that most people aren't consistently profitable. And this is a challenge that I've accepted myself, that I truly want to try and have an impact on. I'm not saying I'm a miracle provider or anything like that. I'm just trying to let people know that most strategies work, most signal providers work. The issue is normally yourself. And if you know and can identify that you're the issue, you can also be the solution. And I think this is really important for this week going forward. I have no idea if last week you were profitable or you were having a really bad week and maybe even you blew your account. I have no idea. But the goal for me is to become better. The goal is to learn from your mistakes and stop making the same mistakes in trading. And put a number 1 in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. The same mistake, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but like continuously. There you go. And the reason being is that emotionally we are attached to the money. Okay. I was an ex-professional footballer for 13 years. And whenever I lost a game, it didn't mean that my money would be gone. Yes, I may lose out on bonuses, but my monthly pay was always the same. If some people go to their job and they do something wrong, there's a very high probability that their income is going to stay the same. Here in trading, you make a mistake, if it's on a live account, you're going to lose money. This means that the emotional roller coaster that you're going on is so much bigger than anything else out there. which means that you have to focus on emotional control. It's the hardest thing to do, and especially when you have to accept losing. I am an extremely bad loser. I can see Alex on the call. He's a Manchester United fan. He's used to losing. I'm not, right? Joking, bro. I'm joking. But this is the thing. You have to get used to losing. And it's built within us that we don't like to lose. So if you add that and you add money, and if you think about money, if you're driving right now and you puncture your tire, you get a flat tire, you're pissed off because you have to pay for the tire. Okay? Whereas if you're walking down the street and you lose your wallet and somebody manages to find it and takes 100 euros, 200 euros, you're pissed off because you've lost your money. Somebody's taken it. So whether you lose it or you have to pay for something, we are emotionally attached to money. And this is key for trading. And I just want to share that with you because you're going to go on a journey where I'm going to really try and explain things over the coming weeks of how I've had to switch my mindset to aim for smaller percentages. So I love the phrase percentages over profits. And if you can focus on percentages and you can start being consistently disciplined for a month, 2 months, 3 months, then there's a very high probability that you'll be able to come to fruition of more money. A lot of people out there are saying they don't want, or they want a bigger account, but they can't afford a bigger account. You have to change the way you're thinking. If you don't believe you can get a bigger account, you'll never get a bigger account. And if you do somehow get a bigger account, but you didn't believe you could get it, you will lose that bigger account. And it's all about understanding how the mind works. And I'm not going to go deep on that tonight because I know this is our first call and we're trading addicts. So I really just want to go over the chart. But as the weeks go on, I really want to do a lot of mindset calls to try and help you guys and even answer any questions that you may have. The bigger goal is for you to have a bigger account, smaller percentages. Right now, the majority of people that join trading, smaller account, bigger percentages means bigger emotional roller coaster. This week, full transparency, on my MT5 live account, my biggest amount of loss / drawdown was 1.6%. Okay? And that is because the account is bigger. It allows me to have breathing space. The biggest lot size I've used on it, it's a 5-figure account. The biggest lot size I've used is 0.05. Okay. I'm not sharing any of this to gloat. Trust me, I have made some of the biggest mistakes, stupidest mistakes. There are people on here that have seen me mess up over the last few years. So I'm only saying this to try and give you a perspective of where are you on this journey compared to where we are. And you can catch up. Okay? Does anybody have any questions regarding any of this? Otherwise, I'm going to head over to the charts. And I did see there was a question. And I appreciate you guys interacting on here. It gives me motivation to really give as well. It's a bit like, imagine going and performing in front of a crowd and then they're not even showing any emotion or anything. It's difficult. What do you think about the market will open? Any major gap? Do you know what? With the weekends now, for gold especially, it's pretty rare if you don't get a gap. Yeah. It's just which direction the gap is going to be. Perfect. All right, let's head over to the charts. I'm going to give you an idea of what I'm looking for today. Again, disclaimer, there is absolutely no guarantee whatsoever I'm going to get this right at all. This is purely my perspective. And we will have a look and see. Cool. You can see my chart? Perfect. All right, so let's just quickly recap on what's been going on here. Let me just do this, do this, do this. Perfect. Okay, really nice. I've had a few people message me directly on Instagram asking about buy zones and sell zones and how they're mapped out. Um, uh, I'm going to give you an overview of what I'm looking for today, and then I can try and share with you some buy zones and sell zones that I'm looking for. Okay. Um, but basically, that was, there you go. That was Friday. This was Friday. We've had the disgusting move from the open all the way up. We had the move back down. We had the move back up. We have the move back down. It was not pretty at all. So if you managed to catch profits on Friday, kudos to you. Well done. How I look at the chart, I go immediately to the monthly. So the first thing I do is I go to the monthly. I've got the chat next to me. So if you have questions or you want to unmute, you can. Now, for those of you that have been on the journey with me longer than 1 week, you'll know that our goal was to attack the wick of this month here. That was the goal. We have completed that now. So we are at a key area as to whether gold is going to drop even more this week, or we're going to have quite a big pull back up to the upside. One of the biggest influences for that is going to be news on Thursday. Okay, it's going to be news on Thursday. There's some major red folder news. I think it's Thursday. So this week, I will let you know if I go live. And if I do, it'll probably be hovering around when the news is. After the monthly, I then go to the weekly and I look at how the weekly closed. Now, this weekly area, when price was doing its crazy bull run to the upside, let me do it this way so it might be easier for you to see. Yeah. I can't do it that way. Sorry, I can't. Let me change that. When price was doing its crazy bull run to the upside, which you should be able to see over here. There you go. We had a rejection and a pullback before we continued up in this zone. 4,265 to around 4,000. We then came down into that area, rejected and pulled back up. And now we've had another attack of that same area of which we weren't able to close below. So this week for me is going to be a very pivotal week. When market opens, I have no idea if we're going to look to push up first or down first. If we push down first this week and do not break the low of last week, and then we start reversing into a bull candle, and we basically have attacked the majority of this wick that you can see here, I would potentially be looking more for buys, bigger buys than sells. Okay. There are 9 days left of this month, and I don't know if the monthly is going to close as a bull candle or a bear candle. But if we do pull back up and leave a wick to the downside, then I understand we're still overall going to be going down. Yeah. So I don't know if we're going to push back up first or if we're going to push down first. If we start pushing up, then I'm going to be paying attention to the previous weekly open and 3 weeks ago, the 1st of June, that open as well for key rejection areas. Okay. Other than that, there's nothing else for me to see. This is where I start to pay attention to the TK lines. Cosmin, you think, oh, yeah, got you. This is where you pay attention to my TK lines. For those of you that don't know, this is an indicator called Ichimoku. I have everything turned off other than conversion line and baseline. And if you know about the Ichimoku cloud, then it's also classed as, I think it's called the Taikanashi, and basically the TK lines is what I call them. And those are the indicators that I'm going to be now focusing on. If we go to the daily, now look at the TK lines. This is all I'm going to be focusing on. We're below both of them. Now I'm going to go to the 12 hour, take a look. Can you see how they're hovering up at this area of around 4252? Now, if I am expecting price to pull back up, as I go to the 8 hour, 4 hour, 3 hour, 2 hour, I need to see one of these start to come below price and the other one stay above. So let's go to the 4 hour, sorry, the 8 hour. Nope, let me go to the 4 hour. Okay, nothing. You can see they're both up above price. 3 hour. Now I can start to see a split happening. Can you see how these are coming? This one's coming down, this one's staying up. Now, for us to attack this gap, this black drop to try and push back up, I need to see both of the white lines coming below price as I go on the lower time frame. So as I go to the 2 hour, great, we're not there yet. I go to the 1 hour. Now I can see that this candle, instead of being stubborn and staying high up, this indicator is coming down to price. And then I'll go to the 45 and the 30, and we're nearly above already. Now, I'm going to guess that there is a very high probability that we are going to tap into this area, which I think would be, if you guys understand how to use a Fibonacci tool, if you Fibonacci tool the low here to the high up the top here, I'm pretty confident that this is going to be a discount buy area. So I'm going to try and look for a buy area down here. If market opens in gaps, then I'm not going to pay attention to it. Ideally, I would like to see market come into this area and then push up into these zones and start pushing up for Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, and then start to push to the downside, possibly. Now, for this move to happen, I then go to the 20-minute, 15-minute, 10-minute, and 5-minute. And all I'm doing is focusing on the indicators. That's all I'm focusing on. Bear with me 1 second, because we ordered some food because we've just moved in. Let me tell. Laska, I think the food is arriving. Yeah. 1 second. Sorry, guys. Yes. They're not outside yet. I'll tell you when. They're not outside yet. I'll tell you when. Apologies, guys. Cool. All right, great. So do we have any questions up until now? Surely we will be bullish for next week. No. I'm not eating dinner. It's like waters and stuff like that. I don't like to eat this late. For next week, because of the war, because it's almost as shut, oil will go up and gold will go up as a result. Or am I being silly here? No. You're definitely, Rahan, it's going to be a valid reason for gold can definitely just go crazy. The best part would be if we do come down to these areas, that means it will have, remember we wanted to attack that wick of the weekly, which is essentially this area here. So if it does open and attack that area and then flip to the upside, we are only looking for buys. When I'm going to be really looking for sells, I'll recognize a change of character, and then that's when I will try and identify and attack the sells. But until I can identify that, I'm not interested really in looking for sells other than buys. The indicator is called Ichimoku. Ichimoku, this one here. There you go, Ichimoku. The inputs are the same. It's just the style. Here we go. The last weekly candle is a good indicator for sells, but to cover that, your SL should be... I wouldn't even try and put the SL for sells. Sorry, yeah. Sells I'm not looking for yet. I'll be looking to see where the entry area is. So now all I'm looking for is buy areas. Okay. Lasco, yeah, he's outside. Thank you, Don. Yeah, no worries. So now I'm looking for buy areas and I'm going to turn on my drawings, take a look at what we can see. We already have, so let's get rid of some of these. This one I'm going to keep because it wasn't fully used. And the yellow lines, you might want to take a screenshot of this. The yellow lines, as I was on the live call, I said, if we start to break these yellow lines, we should be looking for buys to the upside. Okay. So these yellow lines are key areas for buys. This sell zone was missed by 1 pip actually. So I'm going to get rid of London High because that was swept. I'm going to get rid of this area here because that's been used. And we do have an Asian high. So let's just map out some of the session highs and lows that were created. So I go to the 1 hour. And we have, okay, great. I wonder why it was so hot in here. I haven't got my fan on. There we go, cool. Right, so this one is New York high. So let's make that NY high. And we have NY low down here. Right. And we have Asian low at the bottom here. I'm going to make that dotted now because it was a previous, and this one dotted to Asian high. And then we have some more buy zones down the bottom as well. So let's just take a look at these. Cool. All right, so let me look at where my weekly is. There's my weekly wick to the downside. All right. We've got a lot of liquidity down the bottom here. So there are some buy zones, but let me just look on the lower time frames and see what we can see. Yeah, I might have got that totally wrong. All right, cool. So I'm basically expecting, this is what I am expecting. I'm expecting a sweep of either this area here or even a sweep of here to then start this kind of move to the upside and then see if we do have that drop to the downside. That essentially is what I'll be looking for. Once a sell zone or a buy zone is used, does it then become invalid? Depends on how far away price moves from it. I wouldn't use it for a sell, but I might use it as an indicator that price could go to that area and reject again if I was looking maybe for buys. Okay. I don't know if that helps answer. What you can do is use the buy and sell zones for if a sell zone is respected, meaning it comes up and rejects. Let me give you an example here. This is a really good example. If price comes up to this sell zone, rejects, fantastic. But if price comes up to this sell zone and actually breaks through it and then use it as support, the next area is normally you can get a TP straight back down to that next area. Okay, I don't know if that helped answer. All right, so these buy and sell zones are really key for understanding if you can take your entry and if it breaks through, just take the SL and then you can figure out if it's going to go to the next buy or sell zone. And if it does, it normally rejects back to that first one that got broken. Okay, I think that happened on Friday actually. Cool. So basically, to give you an idea of my buy and sell zones, if I'm looking for buys, I want to buy low. Okay, so let's say it's the trend, we're breaking the high. I'm now wanting to buy low on an uptrend. Okay. However, if the trend changes and we start trending down, I still want to buy low on a downtrend. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if I'm buying low on a down, if I'm taking a buy on a downtrend, I'm not trying to hold it too long. But if I'm taking a buy on what I can see on a higher time frame is more of an uptrend, I may look to try and hold it. Yeah, I may look to try and hold it. Is there an indicator for the sell and buy zones? Interesting question because I'm I'm in the process, nobody knows this yet, I'm in the process of having an indicator being made for it. The only issue with that is I sometimes see a 1 minute or 5 minute candle and it invalidates that area from what I see. And that's, you can't put that into an indicator. It's very difficult. Okay. But basically, when price is trending nicely, you can identify buy and sell zones on higher time frames, and then you can go to lower time frames and really get some really key area entries for that too. All right. Just going back to it, as I mentioned, for the weekly, I mean, it's going to be difficult. I'm actually going to just take my time when I wake up on Monday to see how the market's moving. I'm very curious to see if we come into these areas below, or so I'm very curious to see if we come into this area here or even sweep these areas here and then start that move. Or we aren't, and we're just going to start the move to the upside, respecting the bigger trend line to the downside, and then possibly see that. I'll be able to get a better idea once I see how Asian session starts the move. Okay. In terms of any questions going forward now, I can help answer. Otherwise, I don't want to drag everything on too long. I want to try and I want to try and help as much as possible, and then we can crack on with the week. How do you find your buy and sell zones? So let's just go back and take a look at an area. Let's go to, say, the 1 hour. This is not a good, let's go back even further here so we can really, I want to go where I can't see what price is doing, so it gives us a better idea. And I don't want to try and get it where it's, right. So I can't see price right now. Let's just go back and see where we are. Great. Probably have caught this when it's on all-time high move. But anyway, okay. So are we on an uptrend or a downtrend here? Technically, you could say we're near enough trending to the upside. However, we have hit a high, so the potential of this coming back down is pretty high. So therefore, where are going to be my next key zones that I'm looking for, right? Now, there is a liquidity gap right here as well, so that could be an area that we might start to attack. So I've got a choice as to whether I'm going to look for buys or sells. What time of day is it? 10 p.m. at night? No. So let's just press the button so that we can see the next candle and the next candle. Okay, what time is this? All right, cool. Yeah, so essentially, I'm going to be looking for sells, but only short sells. So I'll go to the lower time frames, and let me show you 10, 15, and then 10, 5, 3. Okay. So my sell zone now would be around this area here. That would be my sell zone. Now, the reason for that is essentially we are trending basically down. Okay. So give or take. Yeah. So I'm expecting possibly this to be my sell zone. Then I'm going to see if this is going to basically respect this mini trend line and go to the upside, or we break this to continue to the downside. The reason for this is because of the 1 hour candle closed as a bear candle with the wick to the downside. So I'm expecting us to trend up to then drop. That's what I would like to see. Okay. There's also a liquidity gap there. And if I go to the 2 minute and 1 minute. Perfect. Okay, cool. Great. Okay. So that would be my buy zone would be here. And then I've got a second buy zone down the bottom here. So let's see how price plays out. Cool. There's the first buy zone up to the upside. Does it break the high and continue up? Cool. So this would be, as an example, right? How big is this zone? It's 20 pips. So I could take 2 layers in here, maybe even 3 if I was confident enough. But as we can see, once it's gone 20, 30 pips in profit, I like to either take partials or move my stop loss to break even. Or maybe if I've taken multiple levels, I would then close all. Yeah. How many pips usually? It all depends on the zone. So the zone here is 20 pips. The next zone is 50 pips. I could essentially layer in all. I could take a sell at the top, at the bottom of that zone, and at the top of this one, and possibly even at the bottom. That's only 70 pips. I know most signal providers give 100 pip stop loss. Personally, I think for each zone, 50 pips, 60 pips is more than suffice for that. Okay. But again, it depends on time of day. It depends if there's liquidity below. I haven't even checked where there's any liquidity here, so I don't know if we're going to sweep it. All right. I don't give TPs. Like, whatever lot size you've gone in with, then try and get an idea of what profit you're happy to take. Yeah. I'm not that guy that can give template TP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and stop loss here. I just give the zones, and it's then down to you over time when you see the zones consistently. Yeah, then not all of them work, okay? Because trends get broken. But if you keep an eye on it, you will start to see consistency. Therefore, you're okay with taking the stop loss because you know when it gets to the next zone, there's a higher probability that you're going to get a win. Again, no guarantees whatsoever, but let's just see what happens here. Cool. Let me press this more. Otherwise, it's going to take forever. Let me do this. Perfect. So we come back into the zone again. See how, right, so we use the zone. We now broke into it, used it again, came back out, broke through it, and used the second zone. This is actually a really cool example. Now, already, remember my target is the sell zone, but already from here, I've already made 100 pips. I don't really go for 100 pips a lot. I don't. And one of the reasons why I don't go for my full percentage in one trade idea. Does that make, just put a number 2 in the chat if that makes sense. Put a number 4 if it doesn't. Yeah. Ryan, Bobby, Michael, Sam, nice. Yeah, because if I've got so many areas, I can go with like a 0.02, 0.03, maybe get 10, 15, 20, $30, whatever, and then go again, which also means if I get it wrong, I have a $50 loss as an example. The size of the account is very minimal. And it's enjoyable. Being in drawdown actually is enjoyable rather than stressful. And remember, the goal for me is to remove the emotions. It really is. Okay, so let's just pay attention, see what happens. This might just drop by the looks of it. So it means that my buy and sell zones have totally been disrespected. And now we're coming in and there's basically a liquidity gap here that we look like we're trying to fulfill. So that could be an area without doing much analysis. Yeah. So that was the area it wanted to fill, and now going back up. So let's see. Let's just play this out and see if it comes into our area at all. It's looking like it now. So let's see. This again, I've now got an Asian high at the top. So the chances that this could reject straight away, if it doesn't, then from here to here would be my TP. So let's see what happens here. What time of day is this? This is London session. Let's watch. Does it swipe above? Continue up? Not fully. Yes, it does. Right. Great example. See this example here? it means I got my entry not correct. Let me move that. There we go. Cool. Right. It basically means I didn't get my entry correct. And because price came so close, this I wouldn't take the sell now. It still is valid, but I've seen many a times that it gets very close to the area, rejects, comes back down to where TP was. So I technically have missed the trade, and then it fires through it. So it will be no trade now. But that would be how I map out my zones. And if we watch and see what happens, I don't know if it even touches it. I don't know. Perfect. Now, the further it goes past that area, it is now my sell zone. And that would be my sell zone for a London high. Okay. I don't want to go any more deeper on this, but I'm basically mapping out buy and sell zones on trend lines. Yeah, the highs and the lows, looking for areas it's potentially going to reject. And remember, what's creating the trend line? What's creating the higher highs, higher lows? Institutions. Retail traders do not impact much the market. We are basically those little fish latched onto the whale or the shark, and we have to just try and predict when they're deciding they want to feed. And when they do, we then want to try and just get some crumbs from it. That's the play. So if you can understand and see patterns as to when institutions are starting to move the market, when they are, you'll get an idea of knowing where price needs to come back to reject, because that's where possibly they started their move. Once I understood this, everything changed for me. I was guessing majority of the time and getting it right 90%, but that 10% I got it wrong, I blew my accounts. I go in that disgusting drawdown. Or I'm in that disgusting drawdown, get it right, and I make a huge percentage, and it's just masking the issue overall that eventually I will get caught out and I'll blow my account. And I know you can relate with me. Put a 1 in the chat if you can relate. Once I understood institutional order flow, which I'm still learning, and the sessions and how they impact, everything changed for me, because now I'm actually becoming a good loser. There you go. You're in that position. All right. Again, this zone that we're in, somebody asked the question, can you use these zones for buy zones? Yes, you can. And I believe this probably will do just that with the 15-minute. There you go. So there's your buy zone back up. There's your buy zone that we broke back through. So they normally use it as areas of rejection. Yeah. Okay. These are just key areas. Are there any more questions regarding this? I'm going to go over it more and more as the weeks go on, but this is a lot of information. It's been 45 minutes. I do not want to give you information overload. But if you trust the zones, know that we're not going to get them all right. But if you trust the zones and accept losing, no worries, Steve. If you accept losing and wait for the next setup and don't rush. One of the biggest issues I used to have, I didn't understand about buying low and selling high. So I start to see this breakout, fear of missing out. I press buy, and guess what? I got in it. How many times have you done that? You press buy and it starts rejecting instantly. You see a breakout to the downside, volume comes in, you press sell, and it rejects back up straight away or within minutes. And it does, or it puts you a little bit in profit, and then all of a sudden, boom, this big engulfing cat. There you go. I've walked your walk. I've walked your walk. Rudolph, I challenge you to do the 20-day challenge. 20 days, forget about trying to make money on your account. Write down on a piece of paper how many trades you're allowed to take per day. It doesn't mean you have to take all of them, but let's say the lower, the better. So let's say maybe 6 trades per day. So you have on a piece of paper 6 trades per day and a maximum percentage loss. Maybe, I don't know, depends on your account size, but let's say ideally 3%. Max loss, I got it wrong, I'm out. And for 20 days, can you put a tick at the end of the day to say that you stayed within the parameters of 6 trades maximum and minus whatever the percentage maximum? And do that for 20 days and don't even pay attention too much to whether you're in profit or loss, but just trade your strategy. Mark my words, if you can come back to me with 20 trading days doing this, I can tell you whether you're profitable or it's your strategy. If you're in profit, it means you were the issue. If you're not in profit and it's a big difference, it just means your strategy. And that's where, when I do the one-on-one coaching with people, that's where I really show them how to fix that. So I challenge you, Rudolph, if you're stuck with that, right? It's boring, it really is, but trading should be boring. Bobby, just wondering, what times do you call for close on each market for charts? I'm struggling with indicators at the minute, not working properly. Sorry, I didn't quite understand. Just wondering, what times do you call for close on each market for charts? Can you just explain a little bit more on that so I make sure I can answer it properly?
Hey mate, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, it was just basically because I know you do your market open and close on the charts.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a couple of indicators that I've got that have, for some reason I was talking to
I got
Alex
you,
about
got
it the
you.
other
Are
day.
you talking about sessions like New York, London?
Yeah, so
Perfect, got you.
they've always been pretty bang on and pretty straightforward, but for some reason, just lately, they're just not doing what they should do, and I don't understand why.
Perfect.
And then when I had the Asian session indicator that was perfect every time, for some reason now it's just not working. I don't know what's going on with my
Okay,
trading
so
view.
I use Asian session range.
Mm.
And where's indicators?
See, that's the one I've tried this week, and it will not work. It won't come on. It's not showing
When
up
you
on my chart.
perfect, that just means that you haven't done the. So it's this one, Rob Minty, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've done all
Perfect.
the
Right, go
settings.
to.
I've done all the settings that have been given by
So
Alex because he uses it.
so these are. Take a screenshot of this.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's what I have on. You've got to make sure that when these are on, you have to change the transparency of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right, for the range color. Other than that, everything else is off for me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All
Okay.
right, inputs I don't touch. There you
Leave
go.
it.
There you go. So maybe take a screenshot of this. Show London session box.
Yeah.
Show New York session box.
Yeah.
And I don't. It doesn't even say show average. I don't use any of that. Visibility. Well, there's nothing there, so that says it all.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, mate. I'll give it another whirl because I've tried a couple of times with that, and it's just for some
just let
reason
us.
it's not playing ball.
No worries, mate. No worries. Let us know how you get on with that. All right.
Yeah, we'll do.
All right, mate. Nice one.
Cheers.
Julia. All right, guys. Any other questions? Look, in terms of what I'm predicting for the market open, I'm going to wait. I'm really going to wait and just sit out for the beginning. I want to know if we're going to start to push to the upside or downside first. Oh, Jesus, I've really ruined this. Let me get rid of all these. Perfect. Cool. Okay, I'm really going to look and see if we start. Where are we? Jeez, we're way below that. I'm really going to see if we're going to start to basically, are we going to start to see this first? So a little push down and then a push up to attack this and then basically see that move? Or are we going to come down first to then start the bigger move to the upside? I don't know. Yeah, okay. No problem. Other than that, I am looking forward to the week ahead. Again, any questions you guys have? Sorry, it's pitch black here now, so you won't be able to see me properly. But any other questions you guys have, put them in the chat, the groups that you're in. I'll do my best to try and answer. And this week, I'll be doing the same. Look, apologies if it's too much in terms of information, but I want you guys to really learn. I want you guys to really understand what I see. And it is a lot of information. I can't teach you on a signal. I can't share with you what I see on a signal. So hopefully, as the weeks go on, you'll really start to get used to it. Okay. Cool, yeah. All right, guys, sending love. Any other questions? Anybody else want to add anything? You're more than welcome. What do you charge for coaching? That's an interesting question right now. Pleasure, Rudolph. No problem. No problem at all. All right, guys, sending love. Be safe. And I look forward to seeing you on the charts tomorrow. Cool. Bye-bye.